wanna rock right now. I'm 19, I came to get down. I'm not internationally known, but I feel rock bass when it comes to the microphone. You know I straight rock that. New money came through when we dropped that. Tastebreakers on the beat, can't stop that. Power for a couple dollars with a block at. Woo!
Welcome to the kitchen of TV dinner.
So Kennedy wanted Italian today, so we did 2 different kinds of pastas, and we got some garlic bread meatball sliders coming up. So here's our red sauce right here. We got it cooking, courtesy of Dave Baker over there. Yeah. Come on over here. We got the meatballs ready. Those are gonna go in nice into the red sauce. You know what I'm saying? We got a white sauce pasta coming too. And we got this. We got some roasted vegetables for everybody. You know, you gotta stay healthy somewhat every now and then.
You know, Mama said, eat your greens.
You know, and the sliders gotta be on Asian verified. King's Hawaiian rolls. You know, 1 meatball per. We put a little basil in there, a little red sauce on top, and some cheese. It's gonna be a delicious situation.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to TV Dinner, episode 11 with Kennedy. Thanks for joining.
Yeah,
appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
So, fun fact for everyone here, this is the first get to know each other conversation that we're about to have.
Yes.
We've collaborated with each other twice, and we've made a song each time. So already that type of person that you connect with musically is tight. So now you guys get to witness our getting to know each other conversation, which is pretty wild. One thing I've been super curious about, because I just learned when we were sessioning the other day that you just taught yourself guitar. You don't really have any theory knowledge. So when did music all start for you?
Ever since I was little, really, because my dad, he grew up in a church, and he played the bass and he sang, so he did that his whole life. So he played a lot around us. I listened to a lot of soft rock growing up, like Ambrosia, type stuff. So it always was just a thing in my head, I just really felt like I connected with music. Then watching my dad do it as I was growing up, I was just like, oh, that's cool, I want to play the guitar too. Then I got one as a gift one year. He gave me a book that had all of the chords in it, literally every chord that you could think of. And I opened it up and I was just like, this is a lot. This is a lot of stuff. I'm not ready.
It's a lot to digest right now.
Yes. And so I just went
play.
through, I learned major chords, and then I was like, okay, let me just do this for a little bit. And then from there, I kind of just listened to it, because I was like, I don't really want to sit here and look through all of these and figure out where to place my fingers. I'd rather just listen to a song, figure out how to pick it up type of thing. But it took a long time to do that, and I feel like now I'm at a point finally where I can really listen to music and pick it up on the guitar and feel comfortable doing it. So it took a while, but it's awesome playing.
When did you start?
It's fun. When I was 15, I think I started, but I didn't try to be good till I was 17 or 18. So that's when I was trying new things.
There's always that this is when I first started dabbling with music moment, and then that moment all right, now I'm actually gonna try.
Yeah.
I feel like there's always that buffer.
Yeah.
In between when you first get introduced to it, when you first start actually doing it. So when was that for you? When did you decide okay, I'm really gonna start taking music serious in general?
I was really a shy kid growing up, and I was definitely afraid to sing or do anything. I would only do it in front of my family, and my friends would have to ask me 700 times to do it. It was that big of a deal. So when I moved away to go to college is when I really honed in on it, I guess, because I played soccer. That was my thing growing up, but I always wanted to pursue music. It was just more of a scary thing where I was from, because I'm from a really small town, so it's oh, you want to go to LA and sing and try to do that? That's really scary. Are you sure? People doubt you so much there. So it was hard to work up the confidence to really do what I would love to do in front of people. So when I moved away and went to college, that's when it started to be more of a realistic thing. Oh, if I really practice this, actually put my heart into it, I could make something and do something really, really cool that I actually enjoy. And so that's when I really started just practicing and expressing myself through music, because like I said, I was shy. I didn't really know how to express myself. When I first started writing and all of those things, it just became oh, this feels nice. Now I can release these things.
Did you go to college out here?
No, I went to college in Indiana. I went to college for 2 years and then I had stopped.
So you went to college.
Yes.
And then when did you move here?
Kylie, my sister, she was out here for 2 years before me, and we had a conversation 6 months before I actually quit school, and she was just like, yeah, you can come and stay with me and try it all out, like, if you want to. And I was just like, okay, let's do this, and like came up with a whole plan. I like tried to do my best with school, like finishing it out, but I just really was not, and I am not a school person.
And especially once you like make the decision, like, yeah, I'm done with this. Like, what's your incentive to really try anymore?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then I just stopped that. I moved home, saved some money, came out here and just tried, just jumped into it, really.
Do you remember that moment that led you to that point where you started game planning for everything, when you were like, okay, now I'm over school, I'm going to drop out, and I'm going to go actually pursue this? Do you remember that moment?
I do.
What was that?
It was a conversation I had with someone who was like really close to me at the time. He was like asking me, what do you actually want to do? Like, I remember laying in my bed and being like, I need to go to school. Like, I have to have a degree to fall back on. Like, I have to have this. I need to do this. And he was just like, what do you really want to do? And I was like, well, I want to sing. Like, I just want to like make music. And he was just like, well, why don't you just do it? And everything I was saying was just like stuff that had been told to me that I was just like, oh, like I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. And really, I just like had to do what I actually wanted to do. I was unhappy in the place that I was, so I was just like, something has to change. Like,
it's pretty crazy how it's like a conversation like that you have, right?
Yeah.
Where someone just points something out so obvious and so clear, like, well, what do you really want to do? Mm-hmm. And then it's something as small as that really gets you thinking. You're like, oh, wow. And you start to reflect on everything like you just said. Like, we have these preconceived notions of what we're supposed to be doing. It's like what we've grown up with knowing, right? And then somebody just like comes at you like, yeah, but really, like, what are you trying to do? And you're just like, what am I trying to do? And that's like the moment that like everything shifts. I feel like most people I ask that question to had like a moment similar to that, where they just like took a second and like thought about it. And that's when you just stop and everything really comes to you.
Definitely.
So that's dope. That's dope. Who are some of your biggest influences musically?
My top one is Colby Calais. Like, she was the first artist I listened to that I was like, oh my gosh, I get it. Like, I feel everything she's saying. And like, I remember listening to a song of hers, it's called Fearless. And I was listening to it on like one of the first iPods that ever came out. And I was in my bed and I listened to it all the way through and I was just like, what in the world? Like, she just like took me to all these different places. And I ran downstairs and I told my dad, and I was like, you have to look this song up, like, listen to it. And he felt it, but like, he was just like, yeah, like, that's a cool song. But to me, it was just like, oh my gosh, like, I want to do that. Like, I want to do what she just did. Yeah, she was definitely like my biggest inspiration. And then Sarah Bareilles, who also is like a really big singer-songwriter. And I listened to them a lot like throughout middle school and high school, and they like were my influences when it comes to like songwriting. And
this journey as a musician is obviously like a very windy one. What would you say is the best piece of advice that you've been given?
Oh, goodness. Honestly, it's like the most simple thing. I met a woman who's been the biggest blessing in my life. She believes in me like I believe in me, and I feel like someone, like, you need people like that.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
And she always is just like, own your shit. Like, whatever you do, just own your shit. Like, if you're gonna go up there and, like, if you forget the words, whatever, just own it. If you go up there and, like, you don't like the way you sound on this part, just own it. That's something I always had a really hard time doing, because it's like you get so inside your head. When I'm in front of a lot of people, like, I definitely get to points where I'm, like, so in here, and I'm just like, wait, like, you need to just, like, be here. Like, you're performing for people. It's not just for you. It's, like, for them, too. Like, they need to understand what you're trying to say. So that, honestly, was, like, the best piece of advice, because every time I go up on stage, I just repeat it to myself. It's like, own it. Just
That's
own
so
your
true
shit.
and so relevant for this moment, because literally right before I asked you that question, I totally forgot what I was going to ask. And then in my head, I was like, yo, I just got to own it right now, and I just got to ask something. And that was the first question that came out.
Yeah.
No joke. Literally no jokes. That's crazy. Wow.
Cool.
That's dope.
Own your
That's
shit.
dope. You got to
Wasio.
own your shit. We just own it. That's crazy. What you got coming up next? What you working on project-wise? You got anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, I have a project coming out, and it's an EP, and it's the first like collection of things I'm releasing. And it's songs that I wrote while I lived in Indiana. They're like the first songs I wrote that I was actually like, I like these, like I actually like them. So I've been working on them for like a year and a half, kind of just putting them together with a producer. Like it's kind of like a puzzle, but that's the best way I can describe it. I can't wait for people to hear it because it's very like, I don't know. I feel like it's where I come from. That's me. Like that's like how I came to like really love like what I'm doing. So that's gonna hopefully come out next month. I've been working on it forever. I'm so excited for it to finally be done.
Dope.
And then yeah, I'm just like planning on performing as much as I can. I have a bunch of music with other people that I'm excited to release all year. We got some music we're about to release. That's just for you. And just keep being around, keep doing what I do. Yeah, I don't know.
You're diligent about the shows for sure.
Yeah.
I see you performing everywhere.
Yeah.
So mad respect on that.
Definitely.
Be able to juggle the music as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's a grind for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
100%.
But when you love what you're doing, it just is what it is.
Yeah.
For sure. So, final question here.
Yeah.
You're stranded on an island. What 3 albums are you taking with you?
Oh, Lord. That is a really hard question. I am very stressed. The Education of Lauryn Hill.
Always.
Or is that what it's even called? The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill?
Yeah.
Yeah. Coco by Colby Calais, that was one of her very first albums. And then also Kaleidoscope by Sarah Bareilles. Those 3 albums for sure. Yeah.
The influences made the cut.
Yeah, 100%. Yes.
Well, that's it. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Of course.
Excited for the performance you got lined up for us. TV Dinner, episode 11 with Kennedy Williams. We out here. Let's get the show on the road, baby.